Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the second day of this SEC Under the Helmet podcast, and I'm super excited that you all have joined me. I am your host, Aaron Thompson, and today we're going to be talking about two big topics. The first one is going to be SEC trap games that I believe are going to happen in 2026, and really why I think they're going to happen, okay? And then the second we're going to talk about is ESPN just released their top 25 teams in the country. Now, this is going to include Big Ten and all them, so it's not just going to be SEC. And I'm going to talk about some of the teams that I think deserve to be there and some that don't, and where I would put them on the ranking if they don't deserve to be there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our first trap game, but make sure that if you are new, you like and subscribe to the podcast, and let me know what you think about these rankings. You know, what you think about the ESPN's rankings, and if you agree or disagree with these trap games. So let's go and get at the first game. Now, the first one I'm going to go ahead and talk about is Ole Miss. And I'm going to give Ole Miss trap game, and it's going to be against Auburn. Now, the big reason why I'm saying that is because they're coming off a game against Texas at Austin, okay? They're facing Auburn on Halloween. Come on. I mean, can you really just, can you picture it any better? You know, there's not a worse scenario for Ole Miss, you know, for that. But I think that game after Texas, they're going to have a lot of beat up players. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to recover. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's going to be Auburn for Ole Miss. And, yeah, so we'll see what actually happens, though. I would like Auburn to win that, but I think that'd be a really fun game to watch. But we don't really know how Ole Miss really is going to be this year, so that's what I'm saying the trap game for that is going to be. Now I'm going to say for my next one, I'm going to say Alabama, the Crimson Tide. Let me clarify also, these aren't every team I'm going for. I'm going for top ones that I would like, you know, ones that I think I'm going to enjoy the most, and that would be, you know, the craziest, I guess you'd say. So I have Alabama for their trap game. Now, Alabama isn't glorious like they used to be. Everybody knows that they're not the top of their. They're not in their prime anymore, right? They're not top dogs anymore, but still made the playoffs. Okay, so I'm still gonna say that. Their trap game, I'm gonna say, is Vanderbilt. Now, that's November 14th. It is right after gonna be a historic physical slugfest against LSU on the 7th. So I think after that LSU game, Alabama's just going to be just beat down, man, as well. And they're going to underestimate Vanderbilt. And Jared Curtis is going to come out there and throw that ball around, okay? And he's going to cause some big problems for the Alabama. It's also late in the season. Alabama is really just thinking about the Iron Bowl and stuff like that. So they're really going to be trying to look over, you know, Vanderbilt. But if they are in playoff contention, where Alabama is still likely to make the playoffs, and if they have, you know, one or two more games, then they're going to be probably very, very focused in on the Vanderbilt game. But I just feel like Vanderbilt's going to come out there and just beat the horse that's already down, right? They're going to really wear into Alabama, I believe. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to be good this year. I think they're going to be taking a massive step back. But I do think they're going to pull off, you know, one or two wins like that. So I'm going to go and give that to Vanderbilt against Alabama. Now, I am also going to say a trap game for Auburn. All right, Auburn's trap game is going to be against Mississippi State. Now, there's plenty of games that could be a trap game for, you know, Auburn Tigers. I can't really say. I would say maybe Baylor would be a trap game. You know, with EJ Lagway, you just don't know how that's going to be. Auburn's such a big favorite that would be a game that I would also say would be a trap game. But I'm actually going to go over to Starkville, and I'm going to give Mississippi there. And the reason why is because Mississippi has one of the hardest places to play. They do. They have one of the hardest places to play. Auburn is coming off that stretch of a game going against LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss. I mean, they're having an absolute gauntlet Then they're facing Mississippi State. Now they are going to have a bye before then, like a week or two before that. But still, I think just after that gauntlet, they might have a lot of injured players, and I think the old cowbells down there are going to be a problem. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and give that to Mississippi against Auburn. It's just they're just going to be tired, man. They're just going to be really tired. And I think Mississippi's going to take advantage of that. Now I'm going to go to my favorite one. I think is going to happen is the Tennessee game. Tennessee is definitely a very good favorite. I would love to see Tennessee go far this year. I think they have the great run game. They're gonna have I want to believe in their quarterbacks. It's just there's not any proven talent there. They don't have really any proven talent with the quarterbacks right now. But the run game's going to be really, really good. Defense is going to be really good. I'm going to say also for that, I know I'm going to say the same teams, but for a trap game, they really got to be the worst teams in the league, really. I'm going to say Tennessee going against Auburn Tigers at home. Now, big reason here is because Tennessee is facing, again, the Longhorns week before, okay? That's the winner of that game is really going to determine this, though. So if Tennessee beats Texas, I think that they will have that adrenaline. They'll be up top. They will tear into Auburn, right? They're going to tear into them. But if Tennessee loses that game, I believe they're going to be in the slumps, right? They're going to be sad and just overlook the Tigers because they're coming to Tennessee's home. So I think that's going to be a problem right there. Auburn's also having a very, very easy first few games. Only game I would say might be a little difficult is going to be, Florida. And I think they face Vanderbilt before that. Just not very, Florida's unproven. Vanderbilt's going to be taking a step back. So even though they have lost to Vanderbilt the past, Diego Pavia's had their number. I think that they are going to end up winning that game. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge for Tennessee if they lose to the Texas Longhorns to go against Auburn Tigers. But we'll see what happens. And then my final trap game I have here is going to be LSU Tigers. Now, I'm saying LSU Tigers. I don't know. I'm not a Lane Kiffin LSU Tiger believer. I said that in the last video. I don't think they're going to be all that, right? I don't think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be still top of the SEC, one of the top of the SEC. I don't think they're going to make it in the playoffs, right? I don't think they're going to make it in the playoffs year one. Should they? Yes. With a $40 million roster, they should. I just don't think I don't think the team chemistry is there. And that is a massive thing for football, is you have to have that chemistry, man. And I don't think they have that at all. But anyways, I still think they're going to be better than a lot of teams in the SEC. But I do think they are going to lose to the Kentucky Wildcats. Now, a reason why I'm saying that is because before that they're facing Texas A&M, and then they're going on a bye. Then they're going to face the Kentucky, right? A&M is notorious for draining a team, right? They're notorious for beating down a team. It's just, that's how they are, right? They're notorious, and it's going to be a physical match, right? Traditionally really good in the trenches. Now, I understand that that Kentucky's probably not going to be as good in the trenches this year. They're not going to be. They're going to have, they're missing a lot of people. They're having a rebuild down there. But something about the Kentucky Wildcats, man, they're always good in the trenches. They're always good in the trenches. And I think that's going to be a problem for LSU. I think that really is going to be a problem for LSU. So I think that's going to be an easy game for the Tigers to drop. Now, I also really like, the Wildcats. I like the offense that's going to be coming in there. I think it's going to be a great chance for them to prove how good they could be, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say that for LSU. That is all the games that I have for trap games. Now there's some others I can mention. I think Georgia going to South Carolina is going to be a problem right there as well. South Carolina has a lot to prove this year, and roughly they need to. And I think Leonard Sellers is going to be a fantastic quarterback this year. I think last year he had a down year. I love that big body play style quarterback. That's why I like Byron Brown as well. I think that's a great, that you look at him and go, man, are you tight end? No, you're a quarterback. Leonard Sellers does the same thing. and I think Georgia's going to come down there and underestimate them as well. And Lenore Sellers is going to be as good as he was in 2024. So those are my list for SEC trap games. Now let's talk about ESPN's top 25. I think it's 25. Yeah. Rankings for preseason college football. Now, there's some teams on here that I think deserve to be there. Ohio State, of course, I think they need to be number one. I mean, they're just the favorite, man. They got Jeremiah Smith in there, and they got Julian Sand, who's going to be a ridiculously good quarterback. I think he could win the Heisman in general. Get right there, that's going to give them the high ceiling and very low floor. Just those two guys right there. They're always going to have they have a good line. I mean, the Big Ten they are the spot to go for offensive linemen and stuff like that now, and I think they're going to be clearly the number one favorites. Right there, they don't have any problem. They don't have any holes they really need to fill. Right. They haven't had any offseason holes that they had to necessarily really, really fill. So I think that's a perfectly fine number one spot. Number two, though, is Texas. I don't think they deserve to be there. Texas is coming off. I mean, dude, they did good the last end of the season last year. They did, Arch Manning really got into the groove. He was making completions. He was running with the ball good. My thing is he was doing that when they had nothing to really win. You know what I mean? They did, but it's just there wasn't as much stress on them, I feel like. And Texas, yeah, they did get Cam Coleman this year, which is going to give them another great asset for Arch Manning. And I think they'll be good. I just don't think they deserve to be number two. Right? They haven't proven enough to be number two. It's all that it's that all talk off season where everybody's, oh, this team is going to be so good, so good, so good. They did the same thing with Texas last year. Look what happened, right? So I don't think Texas needs to be number two. I mean, I could give them, down to, I would say Texas could be like 9. I would say maybe down there a little bit. I still think they're gonna be good. I just don't think they're gonna be second place. Number 3 is Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman. I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give number 3 to Notre Dame. I think that's a good one. Their returning defense is just nasty, man. They have a lot of dominant returning defensive players, and they did really good in the portal as well. So I think that is a good spot for Notre Dame. And Marcus Freeman, as much as he whines and complains about not making it to playoffs like he did last year, and whining and complaining and not going to a bowl game, they're still going to be pretty good. They have an easy season. That's also why I'm having number 3. Their season is easy, man. I will be shocked if they don't make it. I think the only teams they go against is Miami and BYU. I think those are the only teams they go against that could beat them. Everybody else is just going to be. I mean, I think maybe SMU, if they go against SMU, they may face them. I don't know if they go against them. But I mean, just nobody else. Nobody else that can really beat Notre Dame there. So that makes sense. They're number 3. I'm gonna go. Okay, they have Oregon at number 4. I also don't agree with that. I think Oregon should be down a little bit, not crazy amount, just a few spots, just because Oregon, it has these past few years have been, have all this talk, and they don't show anything for it. I do think that Dante Moore is going to be a good quarterback. I think he's a great quarterback, so I don't think they have a problem there. It's just, they just know how to end games, to lose games. I just feel like they just know how to lose games. That's just how they've been. So I think Oregon definitely needs to drop down. I think they need to drop down to like 8, probably 8, maybe 6. Yeah, 6 to 8. I would say down there. So I think Dan Lanning is gonna be, it's gonna be fine. But I don't think they're gonna be, what was that, number 4? Okay, at number 5 they have Georgia. I don't get that. I think Georgia needs to be above Texas, right? How is Texas above Georgia? That doesn't make any sense to me. Now I understand Georgia really, they have not been doing that good in recruiting in the offseason at all. Kirby Smart is the best coach he's the best coach in the country, right? He's the best coach in the current country, I believe. Now, he has that old school type of mindset when it comes to coaching, which I think is fantastic. Under Nick Saban, learned from him. So I think they have no problems with that. They also bring back the third most returning production in the SEC, which makes them incredibly dangerous, better than Texas. So I don't know. I don't understand why Georgia's down here that far. I would bring them up, to replace that. I would bring them up to 2, 3. I mean, Georgia in the last few seasons have not been great. Now, I do understand that they're going to put them down there just because their wide receiver room, they don't have an elite wide receiver room. They really don't. They relied so heavily on Zachariah Branch last year for those like screen passes. They can't do that anymore. So I mean I get it at the same time, but I still think they're gonna be better. I think they're gonna be better in Texas. Okay, I think they are gonna be better in Texas. So I'm a little bit shocked, but not too much. I'll take them at 5. Indiana down here below Georgia. I get why they did it, and I agree. Okay, Indiana's not making that run again. Okay, there's no way they're making that run again. If they do, I'm incredibly sorry. If they do make that run again, I'm incredibly sorry. I was completely wrong, but I just don't see it happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and say they are not. I'm gonna say they are in a good spot. They're in a good spot, but they're not making that run again. Kurt Cignetti he's probably the same level of he might be the best coach actually. He might be better than Kirby Smart. Because he took a team that was all 3 stars and made the national champions. So nothing on him. It's just quarterback play. Right? They don't have Mendoza again. I don't think they're going to hit as well. And they're notorious for transfers. Indiana is a quarterback transfer team. They're going to miss eventually, and I think they're going to miss this year. So, but I would still say they're in a good spot just because they're national reigning champions. I would give that to them for that reason. I would put them a little bit lower, but I'll give it to them because they're national champions. I don't think they're nearly as good as this year. I would put Miami above Indiana is where that's at next. I would put Miami above them. They have a very portal heavy class this year. They are definitely favorites to win the ACC, and I think they should be above Indiana, just one spot above them. I think they should be one spot above. Actually, no, a few spots above them. I mean, they made a run last year in the playoffs. They should probably be up there where Oregon's at, right? That makes no sense. How's Oregon above Miami? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I think they're gonna be a fantastic. I love that new quarterback that just came in there. What was his name? I can't remember. But I love the new quarterback they got down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it and say, yeah, I like that. I think they should be up a few more spots, but Miami, that's okay. Okay. Right here, I do not agree at all. Alabama still being top. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer is managing to drive this team into the ground, right? He's managing to drive this team into the ground. I don't understand it. I don't understand why people are still so high on them. Yes, they made it to the playoffs last year, and yes, they beat Oklahoma. That's good, right? They don't have Ty Simpson to rely on, okay? They have inexperienced quarterbacks right now, and they've lost a lot of players, and they're not going to be that great this year. I think DeBoer, even though he got this signed contract, if they go, which I think they will, I think they're going to go 8-4, maybe. I think they'll go 8-4 this year. That's where I'm putting them. I'm saying they're going to go 8-4. They get embarrassed by Indiana in the playoffs. I think they're going to go 8-4 this year, and I don't believe they should be up there as well. What is that, like number 10 or that's 6, 7, 8? No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be number 8. No, I would put them down to 13, 14 probably. That's where I'd have Alabama. Same with LSU. LSU, I understand it's Lane Kiffin coming over there, Baton Rouge, but dude, it's your first season. You haven't proved anything, right? Again, it's a team with no chemistry. These guys haven't played together. Right? It's a bunch of transfers. Again, all season they fought. The players are fighting all the time. I think again LSU is too high. But I would say they can make. I would say number 10 is a spot for them. I'll say number 11 or 12. I think they'll make it. I think they'll barely make it in the playoffs if they do make it. They should make it. $40 million roster. They should make playoffs. A big surprise for me is Texas Tech being in the top 10. They're relying heavily on Will Hammond, who's going to be their returning quarterback because they don't have Brandon Shoresby anymore. Managed to gamble his career away. I think they're going to rely heavily on the run game, though, so I'll give that to them. But I mean, I think they're going to still be good in their conference, so I can see them making playoffs. I don't think they're going to make a run in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make a run at all, but I can see them making playoffs. So I mean, I'm not too upset about that as well. But it is what it is. A team I thought would make the top 12 is Oklahoma. I mean, well, not top 12, top 10. It would be Oklahoma. They're number 12. I would put them up to number 10. I think they're right there on that line. They're right there on that line to put that next step. I think Mateer is going to be good this year. He was injured a lot last year. He had that weird throwing motion because he was having to basically relearn how to throw the ball. But I do think that I think that Oklahoma will be a lot better this year. I think they're going to make playoffs again. I would put them though number 10 instead of number 12. But I mean, it's fine. Yeah, it's just and one more that I find very surprising is Florida at number 20 at 20, right? I just feel like they're not going to be. Florida's coming off a 4-8 season, right? For them to be number 20, right? They do this every year. They do this every year for Auburn. They do this every year for Florida. They put them at top, 25 because they're going to make it. They never do, right? These last few seasons, at least. I think one of them will make it. It's either going to be Florida or Auburn. But I'm leaning heavily towards more Auburn than I am Florida, right? Florida's just got they're in a worse situation. Okay, they did get to retain a lot of their defensive players, but I mean, the defense wasn't even that great last year, So I find that just very, very crazy for a rebuild year one for him. Now, coaches have done it, right? Coaches have surely done it. It's just to go from a 4-8 to a 8-4 season like that for Florida, especially in the SEC. Rebuilding a team like that doesn't happen in the SEC overnight. It does not. It takes really a few seasons. It's a level of talent in this conference that it's really hard to turn a team around like that. So I think Auburn's just in a better position than Florida when evaluating their the players that they brought in and everything like that. But it's really because Auburn was able to bring in that offensive scheme and players with them, with Alex Golesh. So that I would say Florida being a little bit higher surprised me. But again, I'd love to see Florida go off. I think John Summerall is a fantastic coach. Love his mindset. I think he's going to be great. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you think about this list. Again, there's parts that I agree with, there's parts that I don't agree with, but overall, ESPN, they usually miss when it comes to the rankings. But I think in the preseason rankings at least, but I think that there's just a few that have to be mixed around a little bit. But there's a few that for sure should stay, like Ohio State should be number 1, and it's really about it. It's really about it. That's the only one I probably am going to give you. But or Indiana as well. I think that's good. I think that's a pretty good spot for them. But yeah, let me know what you think about this ranking, and let me know what you would change and who would you put in your top 25, as well as some more SEC trap games. And I'll touch on some more SEC trap games in the next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and next video we're going to be talking about quarterback rankings, and we are also going to be talking about likely Heisman winner for the SEC. Who in the SEC would be the likely Heisman winner? So make sure you stay tuned for that. This was SEC Under the Helmet.